I froze my psycho neighbor out of her apartment in college. My two friends and I decided to find a place together off campus. We found a beautiful 3-bedroom house with surprisingly high retortable rent. The basement of the house was listed as a separate apartment, but as it had a separate entrance and the indoor stairwell had been blocked off, we weren't worried, and the thermostat was upstairs. Then the demon neighbor moved in. From upstairs we could hear everything. This adult woman would call her mother and scream at her to pay for her cell phone bills and give her grocery money, like a follow-away bell and cheap tequila. She would scream at whatever guy she was sleeping with to bring her Smith, and one day she brought home 3 puppies to scream at too. We were terrified of this woman and the noise was hell. Also, we'd been idiotic enough to sign a lease, stating so we're responsible for all utilities, meaning we are now financing her gas, water, and electric. But with only 2 months left on the lease, we thought we could just ride it out, but then she started smoking. Constantly, according to the landlord, she'd quit for good when she'd signed a lease, but for good only lasted 2 days. Since it was winter, the heat was running nearly 24/7, and the smoke was wafting up from the vents. Our apartment and all our belongings began to reek with smoke. We contacted the landlord because we'd signed send for a bloody non-smoking apartment, he told us we lived in a state where you could technically call an apartment non-smoking, even if a shared ventilation with a smoking apartment. At this point, my 2 roommates were heading out for a 2-week vacation. They were online students while I was residential, leaving me alone in the apartment with the demon smoker in the basement. I couldn't sleep or eat because my idiotic stomach decided to react to all the secondhand smoke by aching and cramping constantly. After 3 days, I was a little insane. I made a plan. I checked the forecast. Lows in the 20s all week. I borrowed a friend's ultra-insulated sleeping bag. I bought one of those ski masks with the holes for your eyes and mouth. I got out my stocking cap, my silk long underwear, my woolen socks, and my down parka. I bought tea, hot cocoa, and ramen, and prepared to live off a diet of hot liquids, and I turned off the heat day 1. She's screaming at her mother for forcing her to move into this frozen shithole of an apartment day 2. She's screaming at her boyfriend's meth dealer because he won't let her move in with him. Day 3. She's screaming at the landlord about how she's off for freezing. Day 4. The landlord is at my door. I greet him in full ski mask, parka, stocking cap array, looking like I am heading out to rob Santa Claus at the North Pole. He asks me if I don't find it a little chilly in the house. I reply, I'd found all the cigarette smoke a little warm. Day 5. She's screaming about the beaches at Pyres, and I am sitting upstairs clutching my car keys and my pepper spray with 9/11 typed into my phone. She finally decides she's Zappa leaving and moving in with Greg, even though he just got out for stabbing Travis, and he lives in that creepy house in the woods with all those nail-biting dogs. Day 6. She's gone. I silently bless Greg. Moral of the story. T. Here is a bloody reason the rent seems too good to be true.